Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing? Welcome to First Contact Radio. All right, let's jump into it right away. Cosmic weather today. Space weather. Solar wind 376.9 kilometers per second. Planetary K at 1. Could get up to a 2. No coronal holes evident that we see. But we do have a chance, 60% chance we're going to have an M-class flare today, and a 5% chance that there could be an X-class flare. Geomagnetic storm activity, very low. 5% active, mid-latitudes, and in the high latitudes, 15% could be active. Now let's take a look up here. This is important to know. Another CME. Says active sunspot AR 1504 erupted on June 13th at 13:19 Universal Time, producing a long-duration M1 flare and hurling a CME into space. According to analysts at Goddard Space Weather Lab, the cloud would deliver a glancing blow to 3 planets: Venus on June 15th, Earth on the 16th, and Mars on the 19th. And then there's an animation here shows you. Let's see how it's going to go. There we go. Okay, this is the Earth right here. So you could see as that CME comes off, this one, and this one, these 3 are all hit. As well as back here as well. Mars is getting a little bit of something, it looks like. So we got Mars. Oh, okay, this is the picture. So we got the Earth. We got Venus. Okay, Earth, Venus, and Mars. And these are the other cameras right here. All right. So that's what's going on with our cosmic weather. Astrologically, we're still dealing with the same sun sign, which is Gemini. So air is the element we're dealing with. And unconsciously, we've moved ahead over to here. We're in the void, moon void, of course, which is between 2 signs, between Aries and Taurus. So our unconscious mind is dealing with the issues between fire and earth. That's the transition it's going to. So again, just think about how elements interact with each other, and that's what we're doing. We're learning how to work with different elements. It's like life is a big chemistry game, and we learn how to work with all of these elements, and the more we are able to understand how they work, the more effective we can be with making them work for us. And then we go to our moon phase. We're 21% full, heading back down to that new moon. On the Mayan oracle, we're at a 4-tone day, which is called the self-existing tone, so that puts us in the 4th position. The kin for day is the Earth. It's right here in the middle. So today is the self-existing Earth, guided by the Skywalker. And the supporting cast members, you got the blue hand on the left, which is the challenges of accomplishment. The like-minded energy is communication. It's a good day for communicating. And the seed is about planting seeds, flowering. This one here in the middle, the Earth, is all about navigation and synchronicity. Then we have the phrase for today, which is I define in order to evolve, measuring synchronicity. I seal the matrix of navigation with a self-existing tone of form. I am guided by the power of space. And on the Gregorian calendar is Thursday, the 14th of June, 2012. Alright, so that catches up to speed with our cosmic weather. Cosmic weather, for those of you who are new, it's just an opportunity to look at what is the energy moving all around us. There's a lot of energy moving around. We've had the eclipse, we had the transit of Venus, we have all sorts of cosmic events taking place, and every individual down here upon this planet is being affected by this. There's nobody who is exempt from any of the energetic shift that's going on. So if you're feeling something these days, trust that the process of change is happening, and it truly is. And so we look at the cosmic weather to see how we are being affected by that and what's going on. Now, coming up here, I got the next piece. We're going to start things off with a piece about 9/11. This is from AE 9/11 Truth. One thing I try to do on the show is I try to give as much variety as possible. So when you listen to the show, you get a lot of information. I start off every show with cosmic weather, giving you some astrology, esoteric science, cosmic science, all tied in, and then we go into a little conspiracy theory. We do UFO news. We get into current events. Sometimes politics get into the mix, and then we always wrap up a show with something of a meditative nature. The whole idea is to take you on a journey, which is why there's so much variety. I want to show you what's going on, how we can make some changes, because that's how life is. Life is a journey, and we need to learn how to evolve through the changes of it. So that's what we're doing. All right, so we're going to start things off with our first piece. This is from AE 9/11 Truth, and it's all about 9/11. Here we go.
We all remember how the Twin Towers were destroyed on 9/11.
It's gone! The whole tower! Holy crap! Let's go!
But there was a third huge skyscraper that collapsed that day. Unlike the Twin Towers, no plane hit Tower 7.
Building 7 is the smoking gun of 9/11.
Keep your eye on that building. It'll be coming down soon.
What could cause a seemingly sound 47-story building to collapse?
In the building, I heard explosions. Outside of the building, I heard explosions.
Could one use a controlled demolition on any building? Sure. Did it happen to WTC-7 on 9/11? No, it did not.
The official explanation is that ordinary fires caused its collapse. But if the official story is true, this is the first and only skyscraper in the world to have collapsed because of fire.
We're asking questions. We expect some answers.
Nearly 7 years on, and the final government report on the third tower has still not been published. We talk to witnesses who have become central figures in the controversy.
It hurts when you're being accused of mass murder.
And look at new evidence to unravel the last great mystery of 9/11.
3 words, man. Money, power, and control. That's really all it comes down to.
Now a group of architects, engineers and scientists who understand buildings say the official explanation that fires cause the collapse is impossible. They argue there must have been a controlled demolition.
I saw this building, which had never been hit by a plane, come crashing straight down. I must admit, I was taken back as a physicist.
It is the most obvious example of controlled demolition with explosives.
Despite the collapse of Tower 7 making architectural history as the first skyscraper to collapse because of fire, all the steel from the 47-story skyscraper was taken away to be melted down. A new group has been set up bringing together architects and engineers from across the country that question the official explanation. Richard Gage is a member of the American Institute of Architects. He's been an architect in California for 20 years. He set up the group, Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth, which now has more than 390 professionals from around the world.
No steel frame high-rise building has ever collapsed due to fire, and we have over 100 examples from which to choose.
In 1991, a fire in a Philadelphia skyscraper raged for 18 hours, but it didn't collapse. In 2005, a 32-story building in Madrid burned for a whole day. There was a partial collapse, but the building remained standing. Tower 7 burned for 7 hours.
The Madrid building burned for 24 hours. My understanding is that the steel around the perimeter was not fireproofed. In Building 7, we have a completely fireproofed building to 2 and 3 hours.
What's more, a series of experiments were carried out in these giant hangars in Cardington, Bedfordshire in the mid-1990s. They showed that steel buildings were more robust than previously thought.
The Cardington tests in the UK were exemplary in that the steel did not collapse as a result of these tests.
A purpose-built 8-story steel building was set on fire. For a short time, the steel reached temperatures of more than 1,000 degrees centigrade, far hotter than in Tower 7. Ceiling beams did sag, but no collapse was observed in any of the 6 experiments.
I'm deeply troubled by the collapse of Building 7, because if the official story is true, then what they're telling us is that our existing building codes, to which thousands of skyscrapers are currently designed with 2- and 3-hour fire protection, there's a serious problem.
The official investigators accept the fires in Tower 7 were never hot enough to melt steel. They think the steel was heated to about 600 degrees centigrade, crucially the temperature at which steel loses half its strength. According to the official investigators, the main fires were concentrated on floors 6 through to 13, except floor 10. And there were fires initially on some of the upper floors. A fire protection engineer who's joined the group says the fires were not severe.
The fires weren't burning on all the floors simultaneously. They were scattered about on the floors. And as they burn, they're going to move through the building, so it will certainly heat up some of the steel in an area. But then as it moves on, when it consumes the combustibles there, the chairs, the desk, the tables, whatever papers were there, then there's no longer any source of heat.
Some people have interpreted this anticipation of collapse as evidence that the fire department and others were planning its destruction.
Silverstein, a commercial real estate tycoon with international political connections, acquired a 99-year lease.
And the owner, Larry Silverstein, has also been accused of being part of a huge conspiracy to destroy the buildings. It all stems from a TV interview when he used the phrase, "pull it."
I remember getting a call from the fire department commander telling me that they were not sure they were going to be able to contain the fire. And I said, we've had such terrible loss of life. Maybe the smartest thing to do is pull it. And they made that decision to pull.
I ask every viewer to come to their own conclusion about the language Larry's using and the emphasis.
Maybe the smartest thing to do is pull it.
My personal response to his comment is that he was involved in a decision to bring the building down. But who knows what he was thinking or saying. This is just speculation.
Critics say just 2 months before 9/11, Larry Silverstein took out a $3.5 billion insurance policy on the Twin Towers. A policy that would pay out in the event of a terrorist attack. But without this policy, Larry Silverstein would not have been able to buy the buildings, and the insurance was not just for terrorism. The insurance on Tower 7 dated from 1987 when it was built.
You don't say, we made the decision to pull it, which refers to something. You wouldn't say that about a group of firemen. You would say, we made a decision to pull them out of the building.
At 5:21 p.m., Tower 7 finally collapses. The 47-story skyscraper and its contents are pulverized to dust.
The 6th grader can look at this building falling at virtually free fall speed, symmetrically and smoothly, and see that it is not a natural process. Buildings that fall in natural processes fall to the path of least resistance. They don't go straight down through themselves.
Tower 7 was a large skyscraper. At 610 feet high, it had 47 floors, each the size of a football field. There were only a few places foundations could be put down because it was built over a subway and an electricity substation. So long beams were needed to take the weight of the building on the east side, on the right here. And it had to be reinforced on the 5th to 7th floors, and also between the 22nd and 24th floors. It had 81 columns, 57 columns around the edge, and 24 core columns inside.
In order for the perimeter to fall perfectly and symmetrically, which it pretty much does at Building 7, all of those columns have to be removed within a tenth of a second of each other. Fire cannot do that. Controlled demolition can.
A structural engineer who's joined Richard Gage's group says he can imagine one or two columns collapsing.
It is possible that you could have a local failure as a result of a connection failing. But the likelihood of that failure dragging the entire building in such a fashion that all the columns would fail at the same time is an impossibility.
Impossibility?
Yes.
Is it actually possible to have done a controlled demolition of a building like Building 7 and it to be occupied and no one to have seen anything?
In a screenplay, in a movie, something with Bruce Willis in it, maybe. In reality, no.
But the architect Richard Gage has an answer for that.
It's possible, although this is mere speculation, that the explosives could have been planted prior to each floor being remodeled, or during such remodeling, or even during the initial erection of the building.
So when would that be? What sort of dates would you get into for that?
The building was built in the 80s.
Really? I don't know what to say to that.
Mark Loiseau is not unbiased due to his very wealthy clientele. He also works for the federal government. He can't come out and say this is a controlled demolition if he doesn't want to lose many of his top clients.
And there's smoke on a lot of floors on the south side of the building. And I saw fire coming out some of these windows. And that, through my experience of taking fire photography for the last 30 years, to me that's an indication of extremely heavy fire condition and a dangerous fire condition.
The architect Richard Gage is not impressed. He says the smoke on the south side may not be from Tower 7 at all.
This is indicative of a negative pressure which drew the smoke from the World Trade Center 6 or 5 that was burning quite severely. So if that photo was of smoke, it would have to be coming from every window. But there was no fires from every window, and right around the corner where the smoke stops, there's no fires, and there's no visible flames in any of that smoke. So it appears to not be coming from World Trade Center 7.
But what about the speed and neat symmetry of the collapse?
The penthouse dropped, and then the entire perimeter of the main building begins and goes straight down in 6.5 seconds, which is virtually free fall speed.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All right, Dirk, thank you very much for that introduction to the UFO News. And today, I have 5 good stories for us. First story comes to us from, well, let's go backwards. Let's start here. Real Cowboys Meet Real Aliens, a new book by UFO researchers. Okay, remember the movie that came out last year, Cowboys and Aliens? Well, this is a real-life Cowboys and Aliens. Yes, there were UFO sightings by cowboys, ranchers, and others in the Old West. Perhaps not as dramatic as Hollywood's version. These true-life UFO cases of the 1800s are nonetheless every bit as interesting, according to a newly released book. Imagine John Wayne riding his trusty steed over a rocky ridge and finding littered across the desert in front of him a crashed extraterrestrial spacecraft and the bodies of its non-human occupants. This scenario of the Wild West meeting the far future may not be as far-fetched as some people think. According to No Torres and John LeMay, authors of the newly released Real Cowboys and Aliens, UFO Encounters of the Old West, 2nd edition, the book features over 30 illustrations by award-winning artists Neil Oribe, Shane Olive, and Jared Olive, and is now available at roswellbooks.com and all major online book retailers. After the Steven Spielberg movie Cowboys and Aliens was announced in 2010, we thought it would be interesting to look at the actual UFO cases from the 1800s, Torres said. While the movie is an enjoyable work of fiction, clearly it has little or no basis in reality, and we wanted our book to present actual documented cases of UFOs in the Old West. All right, you can see there's a lot more to this article. Obviously, we're not going to read it right here. So that's where we're going to leave that story. But the link's available for you to check it out. Next story here. Huffington Post has an article, a UFO sighting in 1952 kicked off Britain's behind-the-scenes flying saucer debate. When Queen Elizabeth II, who recently celebrated her Diamond Jubilee, making her 60-year reign in Great Britain, took the throne in 1952, another subject was also causing a bit of buzz on both sides of the Atlantic: UFOs. In fact, Britain's former Prime Minister Winston Churchill became very curious about the subject after sightings on 2 consecutive weekends in July 1952 when unidentified objects flew in the restricted air above the White House and the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. They were seen by more than one radar facility and by Air Force jet fighter pilots who were scrambled to investigate the incidents. When the Air Force eventually quieted growing public concern about these events but claimed the objects were nothing more than temperature inversions, Churchill sent a now famous memo on July 28, 1952 to Lord Cherwell, Britain's Secretary of State for Air. In the brief note seen below, Churchill asked, "What does all this stuff about flying saucers amount to? What can it mean? What is the truth? Let me have a report for your convenience." I would say that the skeptics in the British establishment would have included Lord Cherwell, and one believer would have been Lord Doubting, said Nick Pope, who ran the Ministry of Defense UFO project between 1991 through 1994. On his website, Pope references a piece written by Dowling in July 11, 1954 edition of the Sunday Dispatch. And it goes on to say, "I'm convinced that these objects do exist and they are not manufactured by any nation on Earth." Dowding wrote, "I can therefore see no alternative to accepting the theory that they come from some extraterrestrial source." All right, there's more to the story. I'm going to leave that for you to read. Continuing on. UFO, theexaminer.com, Roger Marsh, Michigan witnesses suggest objects look like an alien field trip. 2 Michigan witnesses at Harson's Island report watching a series of star-like objects ascending into the western sky that they said looked like an alien field trip, according to the June 14, 2012 testimony by the Mutual UFO Network Witness Reporting Database. The 2 had stopped to lock a gate when the objects first came into view. I looked up and saw numerous star-like objects traveling in no such order, but keeping in a controlled area, ascending into the upper atmosphere at a modest speed, the reporting witness stated. They just kept coming from the east to the west until finally bringing up the end were the 2 larger star-like objects side by side, and then they were gone. All right, we don't have any photos or anything of this, just the story itself. Also from Roger Marsh, we have witnesses watch multiple UFOs from rural Maine location. Maine witnesses in rural Penobscot County report watching a series of low-flying lights that they could not identify, including a triangle-shaped object, on June 12, 2012, according to testimony from the Mutual UFO Witness Reporting Database. The witness, his wife, and a friend had seen unusual lights over the past 2 weeks and decided to drive to a rural location and skywatch. They did not have to wait long. After about 5 minutes of not seeing anything, I decided to smoke a cigarette, and that is when I noticed on the horizon, approximately 1,000 feet up, a very bright orb moving at a fast pace above the trees, the reporting witness stated. But looking in the opposite direction, 2 more objects were seen. The second one was closer than the first. The one was triangular shaped and had 3 very distinct lights that did not flash or strobe. They stayed on the whole time, and this was in motion. The other 2 were round in shape. The witness said they soon saw a military aircraft. After watching these objects in the sky, I noticed at the distance there were a few military aircraft that were on the path to intercept the objects. We were all struck when we saw them. The objects moved away and were not seen again. All right. No pictures or anything with that. And our last one here. Remember the other day we saw the UFO image there, was in Illinois? Well, now we got a UFO on the Beltway. And if you recall, doesn't this look quite similar to what we saw the other day? So maybe it's making its way across the country. Did you see the UFO in the Beltway? Twitter exploded late Wednesday evening with reports and photos that a UFO landed on the Capitol Beltway near College Park. Construction at Kenilworth Avenue had traffic backed up, which escalated concerns that something big was happening. Maryland State Police at the McHenry Barrack have confirmed the aircraft seen in the Beltway was a military airplane being moved from West Virginia to Naval Air Station Pawtucket River in the southern Maryland. The plane is 82 feet long, 32 feet wide, and 14 feet high. The X-46B is the same type of military vehicle that crashed earlier this week near Salisbury, Maryland. This isn't the first time an aircraft was seen has been confused for a UFO. Check out the video from themilitary.com of a similar craft in Kansas. All right, so we've got these reports. We had the one stated in Kansas, then we had the one in Illinois. We had a report of one that crashed not too long ago. It was a drone. Maybe this is one of those drones. Maybe that's what's going on. But something is going on up in the sky. And whether it's UFOs or man-made objects, it's still going on. And well, we'll keep you informed on that. That's the UFO news for today. I'll be right back.
What if our government was responsible for some of the greatest crimes against this nation? Would you really want to know? These are big questions, but these questions deserve answers. It's time to demand the truth. People shouldn't be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of them. 9/11 was an inside job. Kennedy was killed by the CIA. Jimmy Carter saw UFO. Answers to secrets you need to know. So wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. The evidence is overwhelming. Step past your fear, take a look. Illuminati lies keep growing, but they're illusion from your eyes. And wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. What would our founding fathers say if they were alive today? Must be turning in their graves. Redcoats are coming, big brothers watching. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. What if I land and two if I see? And I and the opposite shore will be ready to ride and spread the alarm through every Middlesex village and farm. Whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it. When a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Patriots arise. It's time to demand the truth.
All right, continuing on. Our next story here, we're going to turn our attention to, let me bring this a little bit later here. Let's turn our attention, let's take a look at this. In Osaka Bay, Japan, the other day, this yellow stuff out there, yeah, that's the water. At this moment, people in Osaka and Kobe are tweeting the color of Osaka Bay looks strange. From the picture, it looks pale yellow. One follower of the site tweeted, moving from parents' house to Mikage, Osaka Bay looked yellowish when I saw from an eminence. I'm afraid it's a sign from local citizens. It became strange color before the great Hanshin earthquake of 1995 as well. They might need to stay informed just in case. So, pretty weird stuff going on out there. I think if I looked out and I saw the waters turning yellow like that, I'd be a bit concerned as well. Now, moving from there, let's take a look over here. This is Jesse Ventura. This is a clip, and it says it's all about the TSA. But Jesse is going to tell you a little bit about the TSA, the same kind of stuff you hear me talking about. So this is Jesse.
Shifting gears, we talked about this yesterday on the phone, and you laughed and said it doesn't surprise me, but I actually have a big stack of these. Congresswoman lashes out at TSA for hiring pedophiles and child pornographers, and it turns out key head TSA agents over whole gates and airports are defrocked priests, child pornographers, convicted rapists. So this is being done on purpose, and I've got a whole stack of news. You've been out of the country. I want to read this to you. Again, defrocked priest hired as the head in Philadelphia. Representative John Micah calls TSA, the little bastard child. The TSA, again, every 2 days is being caught raping, stealing, molesting, running child porn, running prostitutes. I mean, who else would want to grab people's genitals all day? What is your take on the TSA? And now 2 years you haven't flown, Governor.
Well, I don't know about any of that stuff, Alex, so I'm not going to comment on it. I can only speak to my own experience and how I feel, and that is this. I'm outraged that it cost me $20,000 to go to court in front of a federal judge to be told she didn't have jurisdiction over a constitutional question. And that's what they do with anyone that challenges in our court system, the TSA and Homeland Security. They don't have jurisdiction. Well, people need to understand clearly, when you go to any airport in the United States today, you are not protected by the Constitution or the Bill of Rights. In other words, they can do anything they want to you out there, and there's nowhere you can seek redress because the courts will not hear it.
It's a lawless criminal zone. But let me raise this to you, because I understand you've been out of the country until a few weeks ago. This is the Congresswoman Marsha Blackburn. She listed 50 pedophile crimes of the TS. I mean, this is in the news. So I'm saying, if that's true, you told me off air you're not surprised. But no, sir, it is true that they're finding a bunch of them that are being put in leadership positions are pervs. What do you think of that?
Well, why wouldn't they? I believe that's why pedophiles become Catholic priests. I believe they're pedophiles first, and they become priests because pedophiles are nothing but predators. They're hunters.
Yes.
They hunt children. They can't be cured. And so they need to put themselves in a position where the hunting is good. And that's why I believe when you got pedophile priests, they were pedophiles long before they became priests.
Yes.
And so why wouldn't they join the TSA, where they can grope little children and where they have the government's blessing to do so? That's one of the places where Lou Dobbs and I stand hand in hand. Lou Dobbs said, "Thank you, Governor," when I brought the lawsuit. And in fact, I'll be doing Lou's show. So it'll be interesting to see, what he says to me about the dismissal of my lawsuit the way it was. But again, it doesn't surprise me because pedophiles are predators and they're going to go wherever the hunting is best to satisfy their sick, demented minds when they should belong in jail. They'll put pot smokers in jail, but they'll turn pedophiles loose in the neighborhood.
Well said, Governor. You're absolutely right. I just wanted you to repeat what you said privately on the phone yesterday. And yes, that is the case, folks. It is a pedophile epidemic. The Congresswoman is exposing it. This is really coming out, and these are abusers. And they're not all pedophiles. Some of them like good-looking women. I got one in Las Vegas who clearly liked men. It is disgusting.
All right, so why would this be going on? Why would our government, why would these airports be hiring people like this? Do they not hear the reports? I mean, let's think about it for a minute. You've got all these reports that come out about TSAs and backgrounds of pedophilia, of defrocked priests, of all the things. I mean, we've heard plenty of stories. Do the members of the TSA, do they not read these? Are they not aware? They'd have to be. I mean, in this world, to be uninformed is just really not possible these days. There's so much information out there, and the ability to go find information and do some research is literally at our fingertips. So it just seems hard to believe that the TSA doesn't know that there's all these complaints about them out there, because they seem to be going overboard to try to continue this fear. So why are they doing this? Is this something to instill fear upon the people? Is this something to keep people away from flying? Is that part of what's going on? I don't know. I just know that it's not right to have these kind of individuals working in situations where they're going to be putting their hands on children or anyone else. And it seems to be happening more and more. And how we've gotten this far along with this happening without it ending is incredible. Because there's situations out there in the world, crimes much less, and crimes that aren't even considered crimes, where people are getting in trouble, yet these continue to happen, and there's accusations over and over and over again. I don't get it. I don't understand. It's a touchy subject with me, and I know many Americans, as it should be. Now, just showing how conspiracy and corruption really kind of ties in. Remember, we kept hearing all this story about the J.P. Morgan boss, Jamie Dimon, and all the problems that were going on. Jamie Dimon weathered protesters in questioning at a Senate Banking Committee hearing today about J.P. Morgan's $2 billion in trading losses, armed with cufflinks that appeared to be inscribed with the presidential seal. The CEO that President Obama deemed one of America's smartest bankers we've got, after trading loss debacle, flashed a not-so-subtle message to the lawmakers that the boss has his back. In more than one picture, Dimon was seen with the seal cufflinks visible. The seal reads, "Seal of the President of the United States," and includes an arrow carrying eagle. Dimon apparently does have an affinity for bold cufflinks. His one-time Chicago home included a huge portrait hanging above. All right, let me see, go on here. Recently, the Morgan executive had classified his political leanings as barely Democratic. And you can see the cufflinks. So, you know, you hear the stories that Obama's in bed with the bankers. Well, then you get a story like this, and you see that, wait a minute, here's a banker, and he's wearing the seals, and is this something that is a signal that he's on board and not to worry about things? I mean, it's pretty crazy. Just another one of those things that need to be, I don't know, I don't understand. All right, Barack Obama. 29 photos of baby Barack Obama. Now, strangely enough, here he is, but for some reason he's called Barry Obama in this picture. Barry Obama, Tom Krieger, Malcolm Way, and Jeff LePage. Why would he be called Barry? Oh, that's right. Barry Soetoro is his name. And as we keep scrolling down, there he is again. And look at him as a pirate. He started off as a little pirate, grew up to be a big pirate, stealing from everybody. And we continue along here. Alright, and there's this other one here. Look at this. Whether you're a Tamura, A. Chung, or an Obama, we share the same world. And it lists the kids as John, Barry, Lisa, Nelson, Judy. So Barry. So again, he's considered to be Barry. Alright. And just a few other pictures here. Alright, the link's available. You can see all these pictures, but don't you find it to be a bit strange? There he is, Barry, 3rd grade. Scott and Barry. Don't you think it's a bit strange that all these pictures has this title Barry? I know some may say, well, this was put on afterwards, Photoshop. Maybe. But here's another one, Barry Obama. So apparently there's something more going on that we don't know about. Or maybe we do know about it, and it's just a continuation of people being fooled over and over again Barry Obama. Not Barack. Barry. Huh. All right. So, moving, what's we got here? All right. This story here. Yesterday we talked about the drones. 30,000 drones by the year, what, 2020? That's 12 years. 12 years or 8, was it 8 years? 8 years, 30,000 drones. That comes out to be, from now to then, 300 and about 370-ish, 360, 370 drones a month, every month for the next 8 years. It's a lot of drones. Well, here's an article that talks about 64 drone bases on American soil. We got a map here so you can see where they are. Let's look at that. Look where they want to put these things all over the country. Make sure they're watching you. We like to think the drone war is something far away, fought in the desert of Yemen and the mountains of Afghanistan. But we now know it's closer than we thought. There are 64 drone bases on American soil. That includes 12 locations housing Predator and Reaper unmanned aerial vehicles which can be armed. Public Intelligence, a nonprofit that advocates for free access to information, released a map of military UAV activities in the United States on Tuesday, assembled from military sources, especially this little-known June 2011 Air Force presentation. It is arguably the most comprehensive map so far of the spread of the Pentagon's unmanned fleet. What exact missions are performed at those locations, however, is not clear. Some bases might be used as remote cockpits to control the robotic aircraft overseas, some for drone pilot training, others may have imagery analysis depots. Alright, so you can see there's a problem. We heard the other day about one that had crashed. We also hear the reports that they're ordering so many they don't even have the ability to put them all up or control them. So that's a problem. That is a problem. Okay, I want to play this one for you here. Because with all of the problems going on, okay, we just did the story of the pedophilia, right? TSAs, all the pedophiles and nonsense going on over there. And then one of the things Jesse Ventura talked about, he said that they're raiding these, they'll arrest people for marijuana, but the TSA can go and they can fondle the little kids and get away with it. Well, here's a perfect example of that story. This is up in Kent, Washington. Here we go.
Day one is almost in the books, but the controversy over Kent's new ban on medical marijuana dispensaries is far from over. In fact, we found one clinic owner tonight who isn't backing down. Charles Lambert says he refuses to shut down his Evergreen Association of Collective Gardens, even though it's now illegal.
I'm not going away. This will be decided in the courts.
Last week, Kent council members voted to ban dispensaries within the city. Leaders are worried Washington's law regarding medical marijuana clinics wouldn't protect the city from federal prosecution. The Kent Police Department tonight isn't saying whether it plans to raid any dispensaries that refuse to shut down.
All right. Well, you know what? Maybe they should raid the TSA. How about that? Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be really cool if the policemen of this country actually went to protect the people? Wouldn't that be an awesome thing? I think it would. If the policemen of America actually said enough is enough with this nonsense at the airport and they went in and arrested, that would be really cool. But so far it hasn't happened. Why isn't that happening? I asked you, police officers, why isn't that happening? There's a lot of good ones out there. I know there's a lot of good officers out there. So why aren't you getting out and arresting the bad guys? Are you not hearing the same stories that we are? That I am? I don't know. But something's got to be done. You guys need to step up and do that part of the job, because we would really appreciate if you would clear out the trash. And in this case, I'm talking about the pedophilias at the airports that are hurting people, scarring children, possibly for life. Yeah, those people, why don't you get rid of them? Stop raiding the dispensaries which are providing medicine for people who need this, and go out and arrest the pedophiles. That would be much appreciated. Now, next up here, we're going to turn our attention to things that are going on with 2012. I found this piece. This is a really good piece. It has some explanations about things that are taking place, and it is 2012. So wanted to play this for you amongst other things. Here we go.
The date of 2012 is shaping up to be unlike anything the globe has ever seen. The date and events are a true phenomenon of epic proportions. Never before has had so many credible sources all align themselves on one date for the end of the world. Most commonly associated with the date of 2012 is the ending of the Mayan calendar. Without much argument, the calendar ends December 21st, 2012, and it is based on cosmic cycles. However, the Maya are not the only ancient culture to point out this time period. There is the Egyptian Great Pyramid that is said to be a calendar running up around the date of 2012, as well as the I Ching that can also be used as an ancient calendar. These are not the only ones, but I think the point is made. To the ancient peoples, the centering of the first morning sun of the winter solstice in the mouth of the dragon is a very sacred time. Mankind's history needs to be called into question, as men have changed very little over the past 125,000 years, but in accounting has only been able to compile a 8 to 10,000 year written history record. Across the globe, a blackout in human history comes at about 10,500 before the Common Era. Throughout many cultures, before this time is only found mythological record of even more ancient worlds and destructive epics. It seems clear we're in a cycle. Besides the ancient people and their calendars, there are other pointers to this date. Such credible seers as Nostradamus, Edgar Cayce, and many, many others. Nostradamus spoke very clearly in his letter to Caesar, his son. That is the opening document of his book. In that letter, he told that the majority of the major cataclysms that he foretold would happen shortly after the year 2000. He also foretold that if the world events did not change enough, there would be other books found. And in 1994, Nostradamus' lost book was found. Edgar Cayce speaks openly about this time period and its changes. Most notably, he speaks about the global poles shift. Dynamically, there is Saint Malachi, a man who lived about 800 years ago and was delivered a vision of 111 popes from his time until the judgment spoken about in the book of Revelations. Now, each pope was a man, and each man's lifespan being an unknown, this basically worked out to be a random number generator. If each pope lived 2 months longer or shorter, then this prophecy would never have aligned itself with the date of 2012. So it is far more than just chance that the 111th numbered pope, the last pope on the numbered list, was elected in time for the 2012 phenomenon. The book of Revelation gives two cosmic signs to watch out for. One happened August 18, 1999, and is known as the Great Cross. It was the gateway to the end times. The second is the woman about to give birth, with the dragon poised to eat her newborn. With a deeper understanding of this symbolism, reveals that the woman and the birth is the old and new world, and the dragon is the understanding of the band of stars that marks our galactic disk, most commonly known as the Milky Way. It should be understood that the term world, when translated, means age of men, otherwise known as civilization. The misunderstanding of the world as planet is false. Now, I have just offered a handful of the over 36 prophecies, all pointing at 2012. Now, although each one can be argued on its merits, the sheer quantity pointing at 2012 requires any mind to stop and ponder why.
All right. Good questions. Good questions indeed. All right, moving along. All right, there's an asteroid that's going to be flying by Earth today. You can watch this online. The asteroid, the size of a city block, is set to fly by Earth Thursday. You may be able to watch it happen live. The near-Earth asteroid, 2012 LZ1, which astronomers think is about 1,650 feet, 500 meters wide, will come within 14 lunar distances of Earth Thursday evening. 14 lunar distances is 14 moons away from us. There is no danger of an impact of this pass. The huge space rock may come close enough to be caught on camera. That's why the team running the SLU space camera thinks, anyway. The online skywatching service will train a telescope on the Canary Islands on the 2012 LZ1 and stream the footage live beginning at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time Thursday. You can watch the asteroid fly by on SLU's website, which is events.slooh.com. Same place where you're able to watch the eclipse and the transit of Venus. So that same site, SLOOH, it's a good site for watching those kind of things. All right, under Lake Michigan, a Stonehenge was found. This was a few years back. Actually, this was from May 25th, 2011. Bring this story to your attention if you hadn't heard of it yet. Alright, while scanning underneath the waters of Lake Michigan for shipwrecks, archaeologists found something a lot more interesting than they bargained for. As discovered, a boulder with prehistoric cavings of a mastodon, as well as a series of stones arranged in a Stonehenge-like manner. At a depth of about 40 feet into Lake Michigan's Grand Traverse Bay, using sonar techniques to look for shipwrecks, archaeologists discovered sunken boats and cars, even a Civil War-era pier. But among all of these found, these prehistoric surprise, which a trained eye can guess by looking at the sonar scans photos in the article. When you see it in the water, you're tempted to say this is absolutely real, says Mark Holley, professor of underwater archaeology at Northwestern Michigan University College, who made the discovery during a news conference with photos of the boulder on display in 2007. But that's what we need the experts to come out and verify. The boulder with the markings is 3.5 to 4 feet high and about 5 feet long. Photos show a surface with numerous fissures. Some may be natural, others of human origin, but those forming what could be the petroglyph stood out. Okay, you can see it right in here. This is just marking to illustrate it. Alright, viewed together, they suggest that the outlines of the mastodon-like back, hump head, trunk, tusk, triangular-shaped ears, and parts of the leg, he said. We couldn't believe what we were looking at, said Greg McMaster, president of Underwater Preserve Council. Alright. So very fascinating. What's there? You can read the article, check out the pictures again. It's pretty amazing, don't you think? All right. And moving right along, very last piece for today before we do our meditation. All right, this piece here, this is a piece that is a bit of research about this crop circle that I showed you the other day that recently came up. Now, is this correct? Is this not? I don't know. But it's thinking out of the box. It's looking at the crop circle and what is there and gathering information from it. And I think it's a pretty good explanation. It could be one of many. I don't know, but let's check this out. See what you think. See what you think. Here we go. All right.
Have a great day.
Very interesting indeed. So, is that exactly correct? I don't know. Check it out, watch it again, see what you think. But I think it's pretty good theory of what this is about. You know, this is turning out to be quite a year of change. All these crop circles are really pointing out to something. Are these crop circles man-made? Well, there's some speculation that some of them are. There's questions about this particular one. I know I've seen, discussions both ways. It's real, it's not real. But it would appear that if this gentleman who made the video, or the person who made the video, is correct, then the crop circle makers had some idea about physics. So it was just a couple of Brits who just left the pub and went out to play a joke on people, or had some boards on their feet. I don't know. But it just seems like the information there, if accurate, might be a little bit bigger than just a couple people pulling a hoax, and we need just to pay attention. Because, with everything going on, this is a year of change. I think that's what all this is building up to here, friends. Like I said at the beginning, the energy all around us is changing. It's being recognized, and we can see that it's changing through the signs in the sky. We can feel it. I don't know if you can feel it, but I certainly can. And I know a lot of others who are feeling things. It seems like a lot of people in the world are just sort of feeling the intensity of what's going on, and they're acting somewhat erratic at times. So we need to find a way to ground this energy. And so that's going to be the theme of this meditation here. So go ahead and close your eyes and relax. Close your eyes and relax. Now, what I want you to imagine is that you are standing in a field, looking up at the sky, and you are feeling all of this energy hitting your body. So you want to make sure all your chakras are activated. Root chakra, red. Raise the energy up to the chakra at the belly button, orange. To the chakra just below the rib cage, yellow. At the heart, green. At the throat, blue. The third eye, violet. And the crown, indigo. And the light continues on into the cosmos. Feel all of this energy hitting your chakras and filling your body with energy. And as you do, feel this energy intensify to the point where your body is almost shaking. There is so much energy. And at that point, imagine yourself sitting down. And to ground yourself, all you need to do is grab a hold of some ground. So reach down, pick up a rock, touch the grass, touch the dirt, touch the ground. And in the same way that electrical plugs have the ground on them to ground the energy, we do the same thing by touching the ground. And as we do, Mother Earth helps to balance us out, helps to balance out this energy within us. And as this energy is grounded, it now has more of an opportunity to go through your body and make the effective changes that it needs to make. Changes to your DNA, changes to your consciousness, changes to the unconscious. Imagine feeling all of these changes taking place. Imagine the difference of how your body feels when you ground the energy, as to opposed when the energy just runs chaotic. And through the course of today, as you go out into the world, just practice grounding your energy. Take a moment from time to time to stop and just ground your energy. And you'll find that as you do, You become much more in sync, much more peaceful, and more effective. And as you ground your energy and others ground their energy, the process of grounding grows, and we all learn from each other. And as we ground our energy, the erratic behavior goes away. As we ground our energy, we raise our consciousness. So let's send thank you to Great Spirit for the blessings and the energies. Thank you for the opportunity to grow during this time of 2012. And thank you for all of the blessings that the universe showers down upon us each and every day. And as we hold this feeling of gratitude in our hearts, let's bring our energy and attention back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3, coming back to the present moment, filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment, filled with faith. 1, coming back to the present moment, happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. Well, there you have it. That is our prayer. That is our show. Thanks for being here again. I hope you enjoy the variety of what goes on. That's just how we do it over here at First Contact Radio. I want to make sure that you are informed about as many things as possible. There's a lot going on in the world these days, and we need to be able to absorb what is coming at us quicker and quicker. We need to be able to look at all of the challenges that are going on in the world and make decisions quickly about what is going on, because the way that the events are happening quicker and quicker. But as we get in sync, today's about synchronicity, the red earth. As we get in synchronicity with earth and the energy of earth, things change in a much more effective way. So stay in synchronicity, my friends. Hold that feeling of gratitude. I'll be back tomorrow with more news and information. Have an awesome day. I'll talk to you soon. Peace. I'm out of here.